Hello, welcome back on my series on my thoughts on the current comic book marketplace. And before I continue, I want to, remind people that A, this is just my opinion, and I certainly don't know the right approach to collecting. One of the things that I learned over the years of being a collector is that there are a vast variety of collectors out there. And whenever me or somebody else express their ways of collecting, often some people can misconstrue what we say as if this is the best way, and that's not the case at all. I have, no idea what is the best way. I know what is the best way for me. So let me reiterate that there is no right way or wrong way. As long as you enjoy collecting your way, then do what you feel is right. It's not it's not in my place to say that my way or somebody else's way is right or wrong. It's just I can only talk about the hobby from my viewpoint, and as I had mentioned before in previous videos, that I have no idea how to speculate in the market. So I tend to just buy books I really want and first focus on that, and let the chip falls down the road, whatever the value will be. I'm not I don't I save money for my retirement and all that stuff in a different place. I don't put my money into comic books hoping that that will be the gold mine 20 years from now. That's not how I approach this hobby at all. And there are people that make money, earn their living buying and selling comic books, and if you can do that, hey, more power to you. So I might not I might not be in the game to speculate on modern books, but if you can flip 6 guns for 10 times what you pay for cover price 2 months later, more power to you. So let me qualify at the start of the video that I'm only expressing my view on the marketplace based on what I see from my own point of view, and certainly it's not the encompassed view. As I mentioned before about the market become more centralized on key centric, key focus. It's definitely tough for me, I think, to accept back in 2009 when I re-entered the hobby, because I was basically a completist, and once I re-entered the hobby in 2009, I found out a lot of people that I'm meeting are just buying key books, and so I learned more about what the market trend is today. And key collecting has always been part of the hobby for a long time, way before what it is now. It's more focused now than ever, but that's why like they call keys, because even in the 70s, early 80s, those things matter. The first appearance of Silver Surfer or first appearance of Wolverine, all those things has been considered keys way before the trend that we see today. So it's been there. It's just more intense in the last few years, especially with the emergence of other media into this hobby. I think key collecting and key value have exploded in popularity and speculation since the success of movies and TVs. I mean, for example, if you go back, from 2009, of course, well, prior to 2009, okay, you look at the few successful movies that we have out there. You got the Batman, and then you have, of course, Superman, and then you have Spider-Man. All those things existed and was successful in multiple movies before 2009, okay, before 2007. So why is it that they didn't do much to the value of those books? Well, at the end of the day, people recognize Superman Action 1. That has been the key for a long time. Doesn't matter how good or how great the movie was. People that associate with the hobby or play in the hobby space understand that Action 1, the first appearance of Superman, is the holy of holy grail. So even if that movie bombs, doesn't matter. That book is still the big kahuna. And then the same thing with Batman. Regardless if Batman fail or succeed, the value of Detective 27, which is the first appearance of the Batman, is highly sought after. It's always worth a lot of money, and the success of the movie have very little impact on that book. Okay, very little impact in my opinion. And then you can go on to Spider-Man. The Spider-Man movie didn't really, blow up the value of the collectible Spider-Man books. Amazing Fantasy perhaps was brought more into the limelight once Spider-Man was a successful franchise. But I think without the movie, most people would recognize and consider that Amazing Fantasy 15 is likely the most important books of the Silver Age, maybe right next to, say, Fantastic Four. But it has its place in history, in the hobby, as far as collectability and desirability. So the movie, the tie-in with the movies for those three characters didn't really change much as far as the potential investment value of the key books in those titles. But everything changes when Iron Man came on board. Okay, when Iron Man came out and blew up as far as popularity, then all of a sudden you see, a surge in speculation. I believe in some books. We see that happen with Daredevil. We see that happen with Ghost Rider. And as the movie failed, the speculation cycle died down with the Daredevil, the Elektra, the Ghost Rider, even the Fantastic Four. The movie bomb. As far as the X-Men, that's another franchise. I would say the X-Men would be the fourth franchise that really had very little impact on the collectability of the X-Men book, in my opinion, because regardless how bad the movie were, people still love the X-Men. People still want to buy, the first appearance of Wolverine, first appearance of the new team. The value of those books, came down more because of the sheer amount of copies out there. It's not because there's less demand today for an X-Men 94 or Giant Size X-Men 1, regardless of what the movie have done. But that's one of the area that I think changed a lot since the last 5, 6, 7 years, is that now you have a wave of, every time you have a discussion or hint of a movie, just about everything that ties into that movie exploded in speculation, from Rocket Raccoon to Silver Samurai, you name it. It's to me it's almost crazy that people would just go out there and willing to pay a lot more, multiple of what the book was yesterday. A week ago, before they announced that this character will be in the movie, that book might be $50. All of a sudden, that it's in the movie is worth 4 times that much. And then what happened after? We have seen this happen so many times, but regardless of what the past have done, the cycle is not stopping. Okay, I can go and talk about back when they announced the Green Lantern movie, we see a surge in value of Showcase number 22, the first appearance of the new Green Lantern. And after the movie came out, it didn't do too well. Now, is the value of the book dropped since then because the movie stink, or stink according to most people? I thought it was okay. Is that the reason? I don't know. Okay, but you can go on. For example, okay, now take a look at the next another example, Whiplash. Why is that his appearance in Iron Man really didn't create that much of a buzz? I can go on and on with many examples, but every time you see an appearance of a character in the upcoming movies, you start to see the speculation buzz about it, and sometimes it make no sense to me. Well, it in general, it does not make sense to me at all. Okay, to be honest with everybody, because as I mentioned before, sometimes you see something go up that make no sense, and then sometimes you see something doesn't go up that make no sense either. I would expect books that have Whiplash appearance to be worth a lot when Iron Man 2 announced, and then Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin. Like I said, it's extremely